Good morning. Even though we can't be together this morning in person, it was my day to teach, and so I decided to go ahead and record this morning for everyone since we weren't having services, and share this online. The plan was to teach Psalm 91 this morning, so I'm going to briefly, I'm not going to spend the full time on it, but I'm going to briefly talk about a couple things in Psalm 91 that I think really speak to our time right now and probably the situations that many of you are dealing with, as we kind of struggle forward day to day, physically, emotionally, mentally, and it's just, every day you get up and you put one foot in front of the other sometimes, and sometimes that's the best you can do. And I think this psalm is a very encouraging psalm for those who are maybe in that state, but for any of us really who are simply seeking every day to be followers of Jesus. So I'm going to read Psalm 91, and then there is a couple of verses at the beginning and then also at the end that I want to talk about specifically. Psalm 91. He that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. I will say of the Lord, He is my refuge and my fortress, my God, in Him I will trust. Surely He shall deliver thee from the snare of the fowler, and from the noisome pestilence. He shall cover thee with His feathers, and under His wings shalt thou trust. His truth shall be thy shield and buckler. Thou shalt not be afraid for the terror by night, nor for the arrow that flieth by day, nor for the pestilence that walketh in darkness, nor for the destruction that wasteth at noonday. 1,000 shall fall at thy side, and 10,000 at thy right hand, but it shall not come nigh to thee. Only with thine eyes shalt thou behold and see the reward of the wicked, because thou hast made the Lord, which is my refuge, even the Most High, thy habitation. There shall no evil befall thee, neither shall any plague come nigh to thee. For He shall give His angels charge over thee, to keep thee in all thy ways. They shall bear thee up in their hands, lest thou dash thy foot against a stone. Thou shalt tread upon the lion and adder, the young lion and the dragon shalt thou trample under feet. Because He hath set His love upon me, therefore will I deliver him. I will set him on high, because he hath known my name. He shall call upon me, and I will answer him. I will be with him in trouble. I will deliver him and honor him. With long life will I satisfy him and show him my salvation. So this psalm, there's a lot of power in here, but we have to look at who we're talking about. And the psalmist himself right off starts with, in the first couple of verses, by articulating with power who God is. He uses 4 of God's names. In fact, he says that we dwell in the secret place of the Most High and abide under the shadow of the Almighty. And then he calls him Lord, or Jehovah in other translations. And then it says He's my refuge and my fortress, my God, in Him I will trust. So we get 4 different names for God here, and different aspects of that. The secret place, the shadow, refuge and fortress, and then He is where we place our trust. So kind of an interesting couple verses. And when you think about this, we start to kind of unpack what this says about God, and we look about what does this tell us about God. He is everything to us. I mean, this seems like something that's so straightforward and simple and so obvious, but for many of us, I mean, how often do we forget that we worship the God of the universe? We worship the Almighty. There is no one higher than Him, no more powerful than Him. There is no one who can see all and be in all, and has power over all. And I think it really does escape us sometimes, and we're so familiar with it perhaps that we lose track of who God really is. And so I would encourage you, when you're studying God's Word, remember who the God is that you are studying. And I think it's very important to come back around at times to scriptures like this and remember that the God that we read about, that Israel followed and worshipped, sometimes didn't follow and didn't worship and paid the price for that, but often when they did worship him, how powerfully he delivered. And it's the same God. He's the same God that we worship today. And that we need to just stop and let that sink in, because becoming too casual and too flippant and with who God is allows us to get into a place where we think we are more than we truly are. When it's, and again, we talk about here that, about hiding in God and being safe in God. And particularly we go to this idea here of refuge and fortress. And how often have you been in a time of struggle or trial and you run to the Lord? The Lord is our refuge. That means He is a safe place that we can go to. He is a safe person that we can go to. And we can abide in Him, and He will sustain us. And then the idea of the fortress, He is protection. So He's safe in that we can go to Him for refuge, but certainly He is our defense and our protection, and the idea of a strong and mighty fortress. So in those first couple verses, we get that context of who it is we're worshiping, and this idea of who God is. Now, jump down with me, if you've got your Bible open, to verses 14, 15, and 16. Sorry, I had to find my place. And this talks about God's deliverance, His protection, and so we have these characteristics of who God is. Now let's look at what the results of those are. And it starts in verse 14, because He hath set His love upon me. And this is talking about us, because we have set our love upon Him. We've made God the focus of our love. It says, therefore will I deliver him. So God will deliver us. And it says, I will set him on high, because he hath known my name. Because we make an effort to know God. God loved us first. God came to us. God pursues us. But when we turn from our life of sin, and we pursue God, and we come after Him, and we seek to know Him better. And just in the first part of this chapter, we were talking about different names for God. And it says, because He hath known my name, because we have sought God and know Him, to seek to know His character, He will set us on high. And it says, He shall call upon me. And when we know His name, when we know who God is, we can call upon Him. And it says, when we call upon Him, He will answer him. God will answer us. I will be with him in trouble. I will deliver him and honor him. With long life will I satisfy him and show him my salvation. He just rolls it out here and says, because of these things, because we sought him out, he promises us these things. He says, God will answer us. He will be with us. He will deliver us. He will honor us with long life. And then, most importantly, He will show us His salvation. How profound is that, to think that, and this is the part oftentimes that strikes me so much, is that God is who He is. And I try to wrap my brain around that and think about who God is. And because He is who He is, I kind of think through, okay, what has God chosen to do? Because He can, and God has chooses to do these things. But when I look at this in context of me, and this is a personal struggle for me, of, for many years trying to be good enough and do enough and be sufficient, and I can't do that, and the reality of it is hard for me to process. But wow, the freedom and the joy and the peace that comes from knowing that I can't be good enough and I can't do enough and I can never pursue God in a way that will make him like that I will purchase my freedom. It is a free gift, and as long as I've heard that, and as much as I know that still every time I really sit down and think about it, strikes me so profoundly to realize that the freedom and the salvation that I have is a free gift. Now, the question that's on us is, what do we do with that? Where do we go from here? Where do we go, and where do we take it from here? And there are examples all around us of people who go out into the world and they become missionaries and pastors and teachers and all of these things. But I would tell you, are you living out these characteristics in your life? Are you a reflection of Christ who lives in you? Because if these are the things that God has done for us, and we are called to be Christ to the world, we are his hands and feet, this is what we do, we go forth, then we should show this to the world. As much as we like to get on our soapboxes and find a cause and go out and try to fix the world, I would contend that if we would simply be the people who he has made us to be and live life in a way that reflects Christ, then we don't have to fight those battles. We don't have to win those wars ourselves like we feel compelled to today. We don't have to prove people wrong or prove God right. He doesn't need us for that. Look at his character. He's already fought and won the war. He simply calls on us to live it and to be this in the world. And so he has already given us everything we need, and we can go and live a life of freedom. And I think just people seeing that in our lives and seeing how we pursue God will start to cause a change. I'm all about making the world a better place, but I want to do it by being as obedient as I possibly can to Christ. And I think that is the call for a follower of Jesus. That's why we're followers. So I hope that meant something, that you were able to get something out of this today. I pray that you all stay warm and safe. It is going to be bitter cold, but hope God blesses your time with your family, and I'm praying for everyone, and look forward to seeing you again soon. God bless.